stupid. Are you ready?
Okay, Smokey, roll 'em. That's silly. Shoot him now! Shoot him now!
I gotcha.
Hello and well. Wait, no, that's the wrong.
No! That's the wrong one. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the That's Not Quite Old Folks Patreon episode. Ooh, look at that. It's all fancy.
Yeah. I have on my fancy button-up. It isn't the ones I usually wear.
No, it isn't. So if you're listening to this, thank you so much for giving to our silly show.
Yeah.
And one of the perks you get for being a $5 patron is that you get exclusive commentaries, where usually we'd have you guys vote for what commentary you'd want us to do, because we figured after doing the J Ward series, maybe just once you'd like to hear us comment on something that
People want to see.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people do want to see, us talk about George of the Jungle and Rocky and Bullwinkle movie, but,
Yeah.
I don't think there was a lot of people clamoring for Mr. Peabody and Sherman, or even Hey There, Yogi Bear.
Nope.
But,
I have the analytics to prove it.
Yeah, well, you can't win them all. But we figured if we were going to start this off with a commentary that we picked, we figured we should do something that you guys would probably want us to cover. Which is why we are doing this.
Yes, it's one of the most recurring gags in our show, and it's all because of this. It's Camera 3, The Boys from Termite Terrace. It's a hour-long episode from the show Camera 3.
It feels like 2. And one of those hours is solely dedicated to one sequence. Like, okay, people think this came out of absolutely nowhere. I've talked about this once or twice, but let me just be clear. I watched this when I was maybe like young, like peak Golden Collection years. Maybe I was 9 or 10. And I'm sorry, have we said the name of it yet? Yeah, we did. Okay, Boys from Termite Terrace.
Yeah,
Good.
I said Camera 3. Yeah,
I just want to make sure. But I was watching, because it's the kind of thing, like, okay, you watch all the shorts, and then eventually, you watch all the bonus features and all the little things on it. And I watched this, and it was, I mean, look, it's not going to be like, a bunch of people talking for an hour is going to bore me or anything. No, not quite, because I really like Irreverent Imagination. But this was different because it was less focused on the actual chronology of the Termite Terrace unit and more focused on, well, an extended sequence of someone drawing Bugs Bunny sitting down. And I thought it was the weirdest thing to keep going on about. And I thought it lasted like a good 10 minutes. It probably doesn't. I'm going to set a timer when it starts, and we're going to see how long it is. But it felt like forever for me, and so I've always kidded.
Yeah, because something to point out. Watching the animation process is very fascinating. It is very cool that you can start with one drawing and then about 200 drawings later you get actual movement. Yeah. That's so cool. Here's the thing though. When they allow us 2D animation, because you can't do this with 3D, but like when they usually demonstrate the magic of animation, they usually pick a much more interesting shot than just a character sitting down.
Yeah. Like the shot of Bugs doing the Camptown Ladies dance in Mississippi Air.
Like, that's interesting. It's entertaining to watch as well as informative.
But if he's sitting down,
Bugs Bunny's sitting down.
He's just sitting down. And if you keep talking, I had erroneously remembered that it was like he asked all of them about it, and it was all of them, including Frizz, going, "Bugs Bunny sitting down," in that exact cadence. Because it was like, okay, will you go on to something else? I think I may have just stopped at the end of the first part because I don't think this, like, after all of that belaboring the point, I don't think I wanted to watch another part of this. So,
yeah, I watched both parts, and listen, even I can't even tell you what they talk about.
They talk about Bugs Bunny sitting down.
It's probably the same history that has been reported all the time, except this time it's through the Looney Tunes directors.
And it's with Bob.
So it's with Bob. So it's one of the few times, I think, where there is a docu thing that does have Bob with the other guys.
Yeah, Bob looking like Roy Orbison at the end.
You know? Yeah. That's exactly what he looks like, though.
Yeah. So you're saying that, like, the other subsequent Talking Head ones, they should have had an empty chair there for Bob, like the video for End of the Line. Well, it's all right.
No. Oh my God, the traveling Terrances. Wait, but then who would be Bob Dylan? Who would be the one person there that's like, really, you? They got you here?
Well, I guess we're gonna find out because I forget if, like, because I know that Chuck, Frizz, and Bob are in this. I forget if anyone else is.
That's the summary here. Mel Blanc is.
Mel, yes.
But Mel Blanc would make sense.
Yeah.
Mel Blanc would be fun. I don't know.
And John Canemaker is the Jeff Lynne, as in, like, okay, I guess you're here as well.
Yes, and John Canemaker, he's shown up in contemporary Looney history. He shows up in Behind the Tunes. He shows up.
Oh, he does?
A lot of animation documentaries. Which is why it's kind of funny because it's a young John Canemaker, and it's like, oh, him with an afro or whatever. I don't know.
It's Bob Ross.
He has more hair.
No, it'd be fun if it was Bob Ross doing Bugs Bunny sitting down. But no, it's this schmo.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna watch this. And you know what? Sure.
Commentate. Have some fun.
I hope so.
Yeah, so I'll pull out some interesting facts about the series if we get a little more. The
interesting fact is that Bugs Bunny, did you know this, sits down.
No.
I'm going to be... End of the line's going to be stuck in my head through the whole...
Okay.
Okay, so we found this on YouTube. It should still be on YouTube by the time this hits in, like, a couple weeks.
It's been up for about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If for some reason it's not on YouTube, it is on the Golden Collections. I believe it is the second one, but do not quote me on that.
Pretty sure it's on the first one.
Then it's on the first one. It is on one of the first two, definitely.
Yes. Which you can buy for 30% off at your local Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, I was at B&N the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, the first three are here. So, and they're in different cases too. So, clear cases.
Yeah, they're in slimmer shelf-friendly cases.
Yeah, they've lost weight. It's great.
Yeah, good for them. On that diet plan.
So yeah, we have this up on YouTube. If you want to watch it with us, press play when we say 3, 2, 1, start, or whatever we do. And you get to watch us riff this thing as you watch it. Because if we're going to suffer, we might as well suffer together.
Your hard money at work.
Yep.
Thanks! So, you can follow us as we're going to have some fun.
Yes, I hope so.
All right,
so I'm going to attempt to start this in 3, 2, 1, play.
Okay.
We were all youthful and
right from the get-go.
Edit, goddamn.
Vinegar, and just had fun in making cartoons. We had a lot of fun, and it showed.
Somewhat youthful, Frizz.
Okay, but Thomas, good choice.
One thing is, it's because it's the 70s.
Oh.
use little gags, like on Porky's Duck.
I'm so
We had breakthrough gags where Porky has out a script, you know, and he looks it up and he says to the duck.
Is that you're saying about the 70s?
Because it's the 70s, a lot of these cartoons are actually kind of in shit quality, but, you know, they try.
Pepe Le Pew, for instance, is the character.
Chuck looks
I'd
youthful.
like to be the kind of a person that
Yeah.
girls adore, you know, and can't ever see anything wrong with him.
Huh,
He doesn't
is
know
that true?
girls badly, you know,
See?
skunk.
Nothing wrong with him.
Nope.
Nothing
And,
at all.
and he'll have stands as well that are going to see no flaws in them.
Quelle est-ce? Ah, les belles femmes skunk fatales.
I still laugh, but
Ah, my little darling, it is love at first sight, is it not? No?
it's because for sentimental reasons it's such a...
Duck,
Uh,
they wanted him to say
Yep,
terrible or real bad
Oh,
about somebody.
Daffy story.
And I said, why don't you get a word where he can have an S's in it so that he can spray when he speaks?
Shit.
Someone, I don't know who it was, said, how about despicable? I said, great. You're
Okay.
despicable.
I love this, like, just how happy Mel is to talk about his characters and his mindset about voicing them. You know?
Yeah.
You're despicable.
Hey, I said the thing.
The end. Wait, no. No, the start.
Who's the guy in the middle?
Drew
Did we see
Carey.
that guy?
I'm John Canemaker for
Oh,
Canada.
God. Here he
Hi,
goes.
John.
Bob Clampett, Frizz Frayling, Mel Blanc, and Chuck Jones. They were some of the guys who turned out the funniest animated cartoons
talks-
ever made.
He's
Looney
talking
Tunes
about
and No Melodies of the Warner Brothers
cartoons.
studio.
Yet he sounds
As an animator and as
so...
a writer in animation history,
Dead?
I like
just
these.
as a fan, it
Yeah.
was a thrill for me to meet and to listen to these artists.
Was he the host of this
explain
show?
How they developed such great characters.
I think
as
he's one of the
Bugs
hosts.
Bunny and Daffy Duck, and how they
Because if you're
developed
thinking,
their
okay,
brash,
on-air
fast-paced,
personality,
freewheeling
and this is the
style
first
that
guy
added
that
so
comes
much
to
the
mind.
Emotional and entertainment palette of American animation. This style was developed at Termite Terrace, which was the affectionate nickname that the artist gave to a dilapidated old cartoon building on the Warner's lot in downtown Hollywood. Warner's began making animated cartoons
I love how they always have a
1929.
sense of humor.
The very
Oh, this
small
building's a
style
piece of
turned out
shit.
13
Let's call it that.
But during the peak years,
Yeah.
the most successful years of the late 30s,
It's
the
just Rip
1940s
Torn
and
at this point,
50s,
but okay.
the gang from Termite Terrace had grown to a group of 200, and they were turning
Hey,
out.
why can't
42
they tell
cartoons
us
a year,
this?
The heaviest schedule
They're
of
the
any of
people
Yeah.
we're
Warner
here to
studios.
see.
Warner's officially closed its cartoon studio in 1964.
But then they kept beating out that dead horse.
Indeed, most of the Merry Melodies and Looney Tunes that are still cracking you up every morning on television are films that were made
Well,
between
actually,
12 or 35 or even 40 years ago. But amazing, is still as fresh and as vital.
40
and most
years.
important,
That's the
as
oldest we could possibly
as if they were
think.
being made today. Our story begins with a man whose very name is synonymous with the animated cartoon, Walt Disney.
Oh,
Ain't no
boo.
In 1923, Walt Disney set up his Hollywood studio, and within 2 years he was expanding his staff with young cartoonists whom he had previously known and worked with in Kansas City.
Oh, look,
Including
the
this
first
child.
girl.
Harmon, Rudolph Eisen, Frizz Frayling, and a very skilled draftsman by the unusual name of Hub Hyrix.
Ub looks like he just walked in on him in the shower.
Is credited with the design of Mickey Mouse and was the man responsible for the establishment of the Disney
Did
style.
you just throw in a little tiny...
This style is based on skilled draftsmanship.
Yes, I did.
Okay, good.
and reality, and
That'll
was
go great.
Everyone who ever worked at Disney.
He also looks like he just walked in on him in the shower.
Bosco the Talking Kid.
Oh, yes.
Character
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course.
Sales film
Him.
produced in
Not racist
1921
whatsoever.
By Harmon and Eising, who are now independent producers.
We're now incarcerated in
Bosco
LA
was
County
a businessman,
jail.
Leon Schlesinger, who was able to get a Bosco series released through Warner. And the series was called Looney Tunes.
This is my
The
idea.
series, Merry Melodies, soon followed, which also imitated in title and more so in content.
Kill
the
me.
most popular musical series, The Silly Symphony.
Oh, the Philly
In
Thimble.
1932, Harmon and Eising left for MGM, taking Bosco
You
with them.
you could have them tell this story.
Oh my god.
Because he had no popular characters, and He was starting to do stories that were rehashes of...
They call him
stories
Cane
of
Maker
London
because he
and
talks so
Japan.
long that pretty soon you'll be using a
Robert Crandall
cane.
had arrived at the studio in 1931 while Harmon and Ising were still
That's just the way they're all, like, kind of popular characters. Just the they were getting desperate, really desperate, super desperate.
Elasticity and distortion in his animation, and an anything for a laugh approach that
So
made
apparently
it
that
one of the
Bugs
most
Bunny
outrageous
model
directors
he's
at
holding,
Termite
it still
Terrace.
exists.
Wow,
I
great.
think it's on display somewhere.
Did he steal it, Cane Maker?
Leon Schlesinger was not.
I think
a
Bob
cartoonist
stole it.
or a writer
I like the little
and got into it.
loony
That's
decals
what
on
led
Bob's
us
shirt.
To try out our own ideas.
Yeah, apparently he would wear those to like college meetings.
Leon
Which, give me, it's a
was
good
fellow
show.
Who in the early days had movies, had been a barker on a movie thing where people would get on a railroad car, and the scenery would go by in motion pictures, and he would be the barker on that. So he was somewhat of a showman at heart, you see.
Oh, yeah.
And Leon did contribute certain things. He had a vaudeville sense. And he was the one that says, hey, let's have the music a little faster on the main title. You know, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You see, if it wasn't for Leon, that would have been played a little slower. On the ends, he always says, let's end with one good gag and then iris fast, leave him laughing. And then hit him with the fast music. That was Leon.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, he was gone by that point, but sure. It's Eddie, I think. Eddie, who had no sense of humor.
About this time, I was feeding a lot of gag ideas and story ideas to Leon.
Cut the Chuck watching this.
May I
What the
just-
hell?
Just to show that I
Hey,
It's mine.
we have ideas as well.
And he said, here's what I have in mind. He says, there's a fellow at Universal that I think could make a very good director. And he said, what I'm going to do is team you with him. I want you to collaborate with him on stories, and I'm going to give you two fellas your own little building in the middle of the
I've never
lot.
seen hair go
And I could practically
sideways.
gone right up through the ceiling like a skyrocket. I was so excited.
That can't be his real
Following
hair.
Monday, I met Tex Avery for the first time.
In 1935, Schlesinger hired his most innovative director, Tex Avery.
We couldn't
Avery
get him.
recently said, I attempted to do things that Walt Disney wouldn't dare to do. And indeed, Avery
Like be
was
funny.
the first of the Warner's directors to move that studio away from imitating the increasingly realistic...
Tex was still
Disney
alive by
timing
this
and
point.
animation.
And here's a
You could have
drawing
gotten him.
that was made that day
Oh,
by
what
one of
the
the artists in the studio. As Tex and I left Leon's office and headed over
Yeah.
for what became Termite Terrace. The first morning that Tex and I arrived, we sat in this funny, dilapidated little wooden building all by ourselves. We were all alone. But by noontime, we decided that we weren't actually maybe alone.
Cut the
But maybe
frizz.
there might be
Actually, I was there too.
What the hell?
We decided to call it Termite Terrace. About a year later, Tex got the idea.
Here's Johnny.
Sir, not appearing in this
With all
film.
these crazy ducks in it. We eventually boiled it down to one duck. And Tex gave me the first scene of Daffy to animate, in which he said, make him exit funny. And I had him do the funny jumps.
Make him exit funny. I like
We saw the
that.
pencil test on that.
Do a funny
We
exit.
thought it was so funny, but it needed some sound with it, some music or some voice. So we decided to put the woos on it, and that was recorded and laid in afterwards.
It's me again.
After we saw the full picture of how funny it was for Daffy to do the woos around the screen, we said,
We
well,
decided to
let's
do
put
it
that in.
every
There's no place
single
to put it,
time.
So we decided on the end title where it says, that's all, folks. Tex had me animate Daffy coming in around the letters, doing the woos around the letters.
Okay.
Porky must have been sick that day.
It was this type of thing that was brand new, and it was the start of the Warner style.
The first cartoon we ever made was called Sinking in the
Oh,
Bathtub.
God.
Hang on the
It
mouse.
had Tiptoe Through the Tulips in it. This was, I guess, 29, 30. Oh, it was 30, 1930. We made the first
Wait, actually,
Looney Tune.
Frizz Freeling has spanned the entire development of the Warner cartoon.
can you let him talk?
No.
Freeling's cartoons evidence a great interest in
Hey,
showmanship
Frizz.
and dance, and few actors have been
Hey!
more skillful in the synchronization.
I'm happy.
Music, maestro, please.
Okay.
Black from the top.
Again, they're really playing the hits in a lot of these. A lot of the ones that we'd see recreated again in later specials and such. But to be fair, they are pretty good. But you can definitely see the disservice the 70s prints of them give.
Ingrate.
We seem
Especially
to
the audio.
Kind of beat out Mickey Mouse, who was a little Boy Scout, you know. Disney didn't dare change Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse was a little
From
bitch.
the early 30s, and
I bet he never
he
sits
was
down.
very reluctant to change him because people knew Mickey Mouse, and they stayed with him.
He probably lies down, the bastard.
And you gotta wake him up and
Anything
wait
that
for him
came
to get to set.
Oh, no, you stupid rabbit! What's this?
See, the fun thing is that when this goes out, you'll be able to hear Mark mouthing the bit from Showbiz Bugs as it happens.
The cartoons that we designed,
As I
were
just did.
never designed in our minds for children. All our audiences were adults, really.
See? Last
Cut to
Hungry Cat.
Cut to one of the...
Actually, no, it's Birds Anonymous. I just...
but no,
wishful thinking.
Still, pretty adult. But,
I can do two things. I can use
We
clips,
never had
or I can
children
tell the
mind
story
when-
myself.
Mark,
I
we
can't
never
actually
forced
talk to them and let them tell it.
Chuck Jones started animating for
Okay.
Aaron Schlesinger in 1935 and has been directing since 1938. He is probably the most famous living cartoon director and brought to the screen the Roadrunner and Coyote.
okay, fuck you,
And
Frizz.
he refined and developed
I'm right here.
stories of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck.
Yeah, no, there. Oh, yeah, this is a really bad print, but
Wow.
okay.
Yeah, that is a bad part. Jeez.
Is he still there?
Still lurking about. Okay, I'm guilty of it as well.
I tell you what, you go up and act as a decoy and lure him away.
Yeah.
No more for me, thanks. I'm driving.
At the beginning, I kind of tried to imitate the Disney style.
Is he at the terminal of the LAX or something?
And the stuff was a lot softer. And I guess I'm not really that
He's in a
soft.
black room in
A tendency-
Burbank.
a tendency when you work on cute characters, to be talking down a little bit. And I found out that I
Which-
better deal with characters that are
Which,
were
to be
exempl- or
100%
examples
fair,
of my
this
own
is the truth.
failings. Certainly not my own triumphs.
No, he's trying to make this work. They all are. It's just the guy just a rare Roadrunner gag I haven't seen in a while. Uh-oh. Okay, even in not great quality, those gags still work for me.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Roadrunner Coyote gag. It always.
We didn't think of ourselves as being anything but having fun, enjoying making the pictures, and getting paid not much as we would have liked to have been paid, but we took it out by doing experimenting.
Fair.
And
Some things never change.
A lot of fun doing the films. We were like a mad bunch of otters, and we really enjoyed it.
An otter's tail.
She's a fancy stepper when she dances. Go and see her as she capers and prances. My gal don't do much talking, dances even when she's walking.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 she dances all
Again, these are good ones, even if they are overplayed.
Yeah.
Ginger with salt and pepper. She's a fancy stepper when she dances. Go and see her as she capers and prances.
Also, this is one of the shorts that we heard live.
Yes, it's great.
Also a rabbit hater. Oh well.
Tex Avery, shown in the center here, is credited as the creator of the definitive Bugs Bunny.
No, I really thought he was the two people's
Less
faces
on
we don't
character
see.
And more on the recognition of
Interesting.
animation's potential for abstraction and surrealism.
You know, I just like Tex Avery was like the most mysterious person in the world.
He's Batman.
And then there's like one photo of him in the world.
There's a couple, yeah.
Characters walking out and reading their credits.
He
Or
lives in the
members of
shadows.
real audience getting up and interacting
Yes.
with audience.
Directing a bear's tail
Yes.
in complete
All of
darkness.
these distancing devices.
Which
were
explains why it's not very
invented by
good.
Tex Avery at Termite
To us,
when he
people
left
probably like it.
in 1941 to go to MGM. The devices blossomed in his films there.
Hey, this isn't Warner Brothers.
Can be
He just
created
said he
out of
went to
lust and
MGM and his
sexual
cartoons
frustration,
got better.
as
Oh,
demonstrated
hello.
in Tex Avery's 1949 MGM cartoon Little Rural Riding Hood.
Oh yeah, we covered this one.
Yeah.
What makes me love you so?
I don't know if it was this one that we watched. We watched Little Red Hot Riding Hood. This is, I think, a different one.
Yeah.
The one where Red Riding Hood is of age, I hope. Tex Avery, man. We talk shit about him, but, like, to be fair, when he's on and when he's composed to some degree, it works.
This sounds dangerously close to the Wallace and Gromit theme. Da, 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 da,
A little bit, yeah.
da,
The swing days of...
Oh,
Most animated cartoons.
Okay.
Here it is.
Here we go.
Time it.
Series of individual drawings, each one slightly different than the one that precedes it and the one that follows after. And it is on this special drawing board with a metal disc that moves around and a piece of glass and a light shining through underneath that the animator works on the sometimes thousands of drawings that may be required for even the shortest 10-minute animated cartoon. Animators have
Now
been
would
called
take 10
actors
minutes
with a
talk
pencil,
about
and
it.
this
10
is a
minutes,
very,
which is what
good
this is about
description,
to...
because not only do they create characters that can move
10,
and dance
20,
and sing,
3 hours.
but they also create characters that can express emotions.
Unlike
and,
you.
Create moods and affect audiences, make you laugh and cry.
Again,
as
unlike
well
you.
as Any flesh and
Unlike
blood
you.
actor.
Yeah.
The
gonna
directors
see
of
this and
Warner's
get
had
so
access
pissed.
to many fine animators who were capable of creating full personality
He's gonna
cartoons.
give us money?
To name only
Hey,
a few of
I'll
these
take it.
animators, there was Ken Harris, Virgil Ross, Robert Bobo Cannon.
Again, sir not appearing
Sid
in this film.
Sutherland, And Lou Garnier, Robert McKimson.
Oh, who also
was
is
a
in this.
Oh!
Animator who later became
Who was
director
also a
of the cartoons.
director.
And Frank Tashlin
Right.
also worked as an
Okay.
animator
None of them are
and a
here.
director at Warner's.
Who's
And he
yeah.
developed many of the ideas that he used later in his
Like, that's what's
live-action
unfortunate, is
feature
that,
films.
like, this,
After
like, the
a
70s is
soundtrack
the best
has been
time
recorded,
to
the
get
director
all the
can
Looney Tunes
then start
directors'
laying out what are
records,
known
and
as
they
the
just
pose
didn't.
Now, these are the drawings
Sucks.
that tell the story. For instance, in this
Okay,
action,
here we go.
Bugs Bunny sitting
One.
down, the director may
Yeah!
have started by drawing just this first drawing of Bugs standing up, and then the second drawing of him sitting down,
2.
like this. Then he would take these drawings to the animator and explain to him why Bugs was sitting down.
3.
And then these
It usually wasn't
explanation
important.
And the pose drawings plus the exposure sheet would enable the animator to go ahead and complete the action so that it fitted properly into the film. These pose drawings are very important because they establish the director's style and personality in them. For instance,
Yeah.
Avery
Hey,
and
whose
Clampett
drawing
performed very
is
strong
that, by the way?
exaggerated
We
Say
don't
who
know.
drew
perfectly
those.
depicted the
He
distortions
talks
of
for
the mind
3
of the
hours,
character.
but he doesn't say that.
Pootie cartoon,
Oh, it's
I would
over?
Say a line like, "Ooh, the poor pootie tat. He fought down." Go,
Okay.
Is that really it?
See, now when I had him say,
That's
boom,
really all of Bugs
I
Bunny sitting
stretched
down?
him,
It was
you know,
just
maybe,
that?
2/3 of the screen. You see, way out of context of the cute little bird, but
Maybe they go back to it.
it set the audience back in their seats, and then they roared with laughter.
Jones' poses, on the other hand,
Okay,
were
okay,
of a
okay.
more,
We're back to poses.
understated quality with very subtle emotional shadings.
With me, there was
Oh.
always a limit
Okay.
because I'm
Okay,
primarily
this,
concerned with
this is
character.
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm primarily
They're talking about their
concerned with
their
not
style, how
what
they...
Bugs Bunny is, but who he is. And to get inside of what he is. And
Who
feel
is
from my
this
viewpoint.
fictional creation?
So that was the reason that our characters, that Bugs Bunny, who was animated by and directed by originally and most needfully by Tex Avery, but Frizz and Bob McKimson and Clampett, and I always had slightly different rabbits.
Oh,
They were
shit, you
different
said Clampett.
personalities, and they were worked in different
Yeah,
ways.
That's
Not so much
interesting.
that they were.
That's weird.
They really got completely off track. But,
So this must have been
but to
before
me, it's
Bugs
the
Bunny wrote
inside of
Yeah,
the
probably.
All shorts begin with an idea.
we're
and Termite
using
has
the,
some of the
images
best
again.
story and gag men in
They
the
only have a
business.
couple.
Perhaps the studio's top gagman was Mike Maltese, who was a storyman from 1937.
Well, they
until
also could have
1958, working alone or in collaboration
Oh,
with Ted
darn.
Pierce. From 1946,
Did they only
he
afford
worked
the four of them?
exclusively for Chuck Jones' unit. Maltese wrote and sketched, for all the storymen had to be able to translate their ideas into drawings, some of the funniest cartoons ever to come out of Termite Terrace, full of Max Sennett-like sight gags and clever dialogue. Here in a clip from Rabbit Seasoning is Maltese at the top of his form, combining
Guys,
literacy with
please,
slapstick.
we love Chuck Jones too. But, like,
Come on.
give the other guys credit
What's the matter with
too.
you anyway? Don't you even know a rabbit when you see one?
Yeah, again,
This is a really bad print, by the way.
It's true, Doc. I'm a rabbit, all right. Would you like to shoot me now or wait till you get home? Shoot him now!
Shoot him now, shoot him now.
You say this as if it's like you're sick of
He
it.
doesn't have to shoot you now. He just so have to shoot me now. I command that you shoot me now. Let's run through that again. Okay. Would you like to shoot me now or wait till you get home? Shoot him now. Shoot
Notice
him now.
how he's not fucking sitting down in
He
this?
doesn't have to shoot you now.
Yeah, he's not.
Hold it right there.
No one is.
Trouble.
And in Bully
We're
the
there.
Bugs,
Oh, actually, he
Maltese
is.
builds the gags as intricately as Keaton did to an inevitable explosive climax.
Nice to match.
I feel like his statement isn't adding up because he has the cartoons, he has them, and he's talking a lot, and
like, the best part is when he lets them speak for themselves.
Music played an important part in the Warner's cartoons,
Okay.
often commenting on the stories with a contemporary tune from Warner's own music publishing firm. The man responsible for the development of the cartoon's music was Carl Stalling, a former
Who we
organist
didn't get
and
for this.
orchestra leader in
'Cause he was
Kansas
dead.
City, where he also met Walt Disney.
Oh,
right?
Later in Hollywood, Stalling became the Disney Studios'
yeah.
first musical director.
think so.
In 1936, he joined the Warner's gang and composed over 600
And had a
cartoon
fortunate
scores
mustache.
in 22 years.
Yeah, he was dead.
In Showbiz Bugs, we can hear how Stalling used music as a background theme.
We're on!
Yeah, it really just sounds like this is like his final essay or for his final project for a class.
Also, if you're... Did Stalling do What's Upper Doc, or was that Milt?
I think that was meant Franklin.
Yeah.
And in countless cartoons, Stalling's vigorous music is used as a subtext, which perfectly mirrored the animation and often commented on it.
To be fair, this is a great bit from this. Oh!
Now I have seen everything.
No, not enough. Yeah, this is at least a good point because all of this backs it up, I think.
Yeah, I used to make some of the sound effects verbally,
Yes.
such as the,
You know.
and I used to do it better. It was more like,
Oh, excuse me?
it still doesn't sound
Bugs Bunny pig whipping down.
The man responsible for coordinating and creating the brilliant sound effects in the cartoons
yes.
was Treg Brown.
Oh, yes.
According
Well, we
to
also couldn't
composer
get for this.
Stalling, Treg had thousands of sound effects on short reels, and he would make up a whole soundtrack out of these, as well as adding new ones for each cartoon.
Which they really should still be using, but...
The Hanna-Barbera ones are cheaper.
Oh my god. This Secrets from Deco Muck with the Hanna-Barbera sound effects.
Oh god, it would suck so bad.
I mean, we got the YouTube channel.
You could honestly do it if you wanted to.
Stand back.
Gangway!
They shall sample my blade. Touche! Oh, 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 oh! Musketeers? On guard! My blade! Hey, whoever's in charge here, the scenery. Where's the scenery?
A major contributor to the uniqueness of
He's
the
doing the
characters
line
created at the
from
Warner studio was the voice
Duck 'Em Muck
expert Mel
in
Blanc.
like
It
current.
was difficult to think of any of the cartoons without their unique voices. They were a major part of their personalities. Here, Mel Blanc and Chuck Jones recreate a recording session of 22 years ago for a Daffy Duck short, Duck-A-Muck.
Well, that's honestly
In
pretty
order
cool.
to add an unusual quality to Blanc's voices of Porky Pig
Only
and Daffy Duck,
22
the recording was
years.
speeded up slightly on a machine called the Thiatron.
Exactly. Right.
Okay, have it your way. Daffy Ducky had a
farm, E-I-A-I-O. And on this farm he had an igloo.
Igloo?
So good.
Hi-do. Would it be too much to ask if we could make up our minds?
The director was the
Oh.
one who pulled all of these elements together. And he was an animator, so he knew how to make characters.
Same
alive.
time. Oh.
Many of the characters often took on his personality and idiosyncrasies.
Well, where's the rest of me?
Okay, why do
I
we
haven't
cut
lived
back
up to my
to...
contract? Goodness knows. And goodness knows it isn't as though I haven't kept myself trim, goodness knows. I've done that. That's strange. All of a sudden, I don't quite feel like myself. Oh, I feel all right, and yet
Hey, remember when Rabbits Run tried to gain some cred by having this image in the film for 2 seconds?
Number one.
Possibly,
Disney.
yes. Didn't do much
Because
though.
Disney
That was-
kind of
Nah. Didn't do
slipped
shit.
with his shorts and went into the features, and he spent more of his time and thoughts into the features.
Okay.
For the sour persimmons, cousin.
Did you know
The
that
interesting thing is the people at the schools and
John
universities
Canemaker did
and,
a
indeed,
music video
children,
version of John
seem to
Lennon's
treat
"Whatever
these
Get You
as
Through
though
the
they were
Night"?
just done. That's the nice thing about it, you know.
Really?
Historic. When I go someplace, I'm treated as an artifact, and my films are not. And boy, that is nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be no further delays, so I shall attempt to entertain you in my own inimitable fashion.
Termite Terrace was a wonderful moment because it was an opportunity to do something completely original. It was a new hope.
Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village cemetery
You
stands.
get it, you have Duck 'Em Muck.
Rather than man is famous, strong and strong. And... All right, enough is enough. This is the final, the very, very last straw. Who is responsible for this? I demand that you show yourself. Who are you? Huh? Ain't I a stinker?
Well, yes, Duck 'Em Muck is a great cartoon. Thanks for reminding me.
It is, but you see-
Hey, Chuck drawing.
So that's the end of the first part of this.
Next week, Camera 3 will explore in further
They couldn't
detail
even do
how
it
the
in,
directors
you know,
created and refined the characters
the
and
full
gags.
block. They had to
And we'll
keep
see
going.
why some animated characters were successful and became stars, and why some did not.
Ooh.
What, like Chuck and
Who are we gonna roast?
Probably
Who
the people that aren't
characters
there.
are gonna be like,
Music hater.
Greg Ford.
That's nice. Again, this
And
isn't even
Mark
the
Landis
voice.
correction.
Yeah, special consultant, Greg Ford. I would have loved to see him host this rather than what we got.
It was recorded?
Sadly.
How many American families buy U.S. savings bonds from the payroll savings plan?
Oh, about 9.5 million.
Has commercials?
9.5
Apparently.
million.
Ooh.
And viewers like you.
Drunk premiere.
Jack Palance.
In my town, Jack Palance has only seconds. So these people went
Yeah, this
out
wasn't
there
a
to find this man.
this wasn't a refined cut of this.
Premiere tonight on CBS.
Damn, VCR is broken.
Jack Palance shot it.
Honey.
Fortunately,
Here we are again.
we at Warner Brothers had the
He looks the same age as he does in the 80s and the 90s.
character under the umbrella of Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies.
Oh.
We came up under that umbrella with about 14 different characters. The first one was Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, Elmer Fudd, and Sylvester the Cat, working
Yes.
with Tweety. So that was a team. Coyote, the Roadrunner.
Yes. Name some more for
Yosemite
us.
Sam, who worked with the popular character Bugs Bunny.
Right.
He showed me a picture of a little rabbit.
Here's Bugs.
He said he's a tough little stinker, and we need a tough voice for him. So I said, why not? So I figured, which is the funniest, which is the toughest, the Brooklyn or the Bronx? So I put the two of them together.
And that's how Bugs Bunny came out, Doc.
He's told that
He was a
several
little
times.
stinker.
It's
It
good.
still is, I guess.
Mr. Jones, wait! Oh, please, wait! Oh, Mr. Jones, Frankie and Perry just aren't in it. You're my swooner dreamboat lover boy. May I have your autograph, please? Oh, may I? Oh, thank you, Mr. Jones.
This is John Canemaker for Camera 3.
Is
Today
he sitting
we are
down?
continuing
Please
our
stop
exploration
drawing.
into the animated cartoons
Please.
of the boys from Termite Terrace. That being the nickname the cartoon directors gave to the Warner Brothers animation studio.
Wish you would have known if you had tuned in last
Bugs
week,
Bunny,
you silly bastard.
by Chuck Jones, is one of the most
Chuck's
famous
talking
cartoon
right now.
characters ever
He
to
just
hit the
have him
screen.
talk.
Usually the carrot. Actually, the easiest way to draw
Thank you.
a Bugs Bunny is to draw a carrot.
Last
and
week
put
we
the
also
rabbit on.
said
Like so. You notice the pinky up, which is very important. It indicates a kind of an elegance about the rabbit, which is part of his character.
Bugs Bunny
started
off
The longest tenure of any cartoon director at Warner Brothers was
Oh
held
my
by Frizz
fucking
Frame.
God.
cast as a rabbit who was defending himself against a hunter. I think that was the first cartoon was made, and was done by Tex Avery. I'm talking about the rabbit that finally ended up being a popular rabbit. There were
No, I'm talking about
Bugs
the
Bunny
rabbit
made
here.
prior
sometimes there's a man.
that
Sometimes
wasn't even the same character.
man.
Really, he was a wild, insane character. And that was.
Which, to be fair,
in
Bugs
the
Bunny would
black
sing
and white
Tumbling
days.
Tumbleweed.
The character who would become Bugs Bunny made his screen debut in
shirt we haven't
1938
covered.
in Porky's Hare Hunt. But it would be
Because
2
it's
years
not
and 3 more
technically a
shorts
bug
before
short.
the sophisticated, understated
Nah, it's a
Bugs
Bucky
Bunny
short.
personality we all know would emerge in director Tex Avery's A Wild Hare. Time passed and the years were kind to Bugs Bunny, improving and streamlining not only his appearance
Okay.
but his entire
Do
personality.
they only have the rights to
This
for 6
transformation
shorts?
is due
I think
not
so,
just to
yeah.
the drawing of the character, but to the tremendous amount of attention the directors placed on
We
his
have
behavior.
amateur hosting,
Once we
amateur
have the
editing,
drawing, and then we put down the drawing, we
amateur
start to talk to
short
the animator,
selection,
then we have to decide how do these
amateur
characters
structure.
Interviews are nice, though.
You can see the Oscar in the back. That's great.
Yeah.
You know what the boss
Yeah,
is.
that's good.
By the way they stand, who are they? So that you can imitate them. In other words, you can imitate Daffy with this feeling, like he's got to move. Even when he's laughing, he's in a position to move away. They say Keaton, Buster Keaton's basic thing of, since he couldn't change his facial expression, practically everything he did was with his feet. So that when he was like this, if he's going to move away or if he's going to jump up and down, so everything was done there, but the face had to stay still, so it had to be body. So then we discovered we're not, we will steal from most any source.
Just imagine,
But,
like, he does all
Daddy
this, the
being a
secretary
coward
comes
then
in.
has bent legs
Mr.
like
Jones?
this and
Mr.
ready to
Jones,
go.
who are you talking to?
Bugs Bunny
What?
in the same situation.
Can you see that guy?
His weight on one leg, and the other leg's out like this, and he brings it up. He takes a bite. He says, "What's up, Doc?" And that's where Tex Avery really established the character when Bugs came out and looked over Elmer's shoulder and took a bite out of the carrot and says, "What's up, Doc?"
Okay, Wabbit. No,
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay, we don't have the rights to our wild hair.
What's up, Doc? I'm hunting wabbits. It's wabbit season. Oh. Wabbit season, huh? Having any luck?
Bugs is being a counter-revolutionary. He's
I
minding
wish
his
it
own
was just
business,
more
he's in a
about
hole,
stuff like this
until
and less
somebody comes
about
along and tries to
the
take away his
Termite
life,
Terrace.
foot or send him off on a rocket or something like this, and so he then
This is Bugs Bunny sitting
counter-revolutions.
down.
Chuck was a more sophisticated kind of a
Surprised
guy,
it
and
was
he
less
started
time. Yeah.
educating Bugs. He started using words that the average decent dose guys don't even know, but Chuck knew. And he started injecting those into the
Frizz is 100% right,
Yeah.
though.
Pull back from
Like
that.
Nimrod and Fricassee.
That we had to get back to the decent dose character.
Leopold.
Again.
Oh my
Each one
god.
drifted into a different direction.
It's a great short.
It is.
That's the only one.
We're seeing all of it throughout the entirety of this hour-long thing.
Concept of the character. we had to remind each other that what Bugs really was.
And they cut out the weirdest parts.
In the exchange of our thoughts and storyboards,
Amateur editing.
we worked together on storyboards. We would remind each other to get back on the track what Bugs really was. When Chuck did it, he was kind of a short-legged little rabbit, and he became a kind of a Groucho Marx.
By always starting him out as a rabbit and then letting him engage. He's more like Groucho Marx, perhaps. Of course, you realize this means war.
Into Las Vegas, San Bernardino. Of course, you realize this means war.
You see, Disney characters didn't quote.
No, they weren't allowed to.
Continuing so as a series develop disciplines. That is things that you, as Groucho Marx says, humor isn't so much what you do as what you don't do. You narrow the character down. When you think of a person like Chaplin...
Nice Roadrunner statue, by the way.
I mean, if it's going to be Chuck Jones's office, it's got to at least be well adorned, and I think it really is.
And so on. Curiously enough, the same Chaplin...
I'm glad that they at least had all these lived-in spaces like their actual offices, rather than just, John's room.
That way, and yet they weren't. You'd never confuse.
Here is my bedroom. I still live with my parents, but they don't mind. We allowed all three of these people into my room to talk about Termite, Terrace, and Bugs Bunny sitting down. They were not completely impressed.
John!
So I shot them.
Jonathan!
Now, the next thing you need to do to animate Bugs Bunny sitting down...
Jonathan, do you and your friends need anything?
Not now, Mama!
Of course, you know.
Yes, point.
Yes,
point.
It's into Chuck. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, again, they have to show every square foot of this cartoon. I mean, it's a good cartoon, but,
Hey, you know what's that cartoon I'm not seeing, by the way? About Clamper cartoon?
Yeah. We haven't seen any of those.
Did they? I mean, maybe when the black and white ones were,
I'm sorry. Old habits.
Well, now,
oh, yeah.
What's Opera, Doc?
Oh, finally. We're going to see what's Opera, Doc?
I don't know.
Let's find out.
The Ring of the Nibelung, which Wagner's Ring of the Nibelung, which is an obstacle course in opera. And then this was all pre-recorded. It happened. The Warners had an enormous orchestra there. They were doing something. I don't remember what it was. And we had a 60-piece orchestra, full symphony orchestra to do the music, and it was all pre-recorded. And all
they were just recording the Ten Commandments.
There were 104 cuts.
Oh,
where's your Messiah now?
Everything lived up to the music.
Oh, yay. Okay. Alright, a different one. Which, by the way, if you haven't heard What's Opera Doc conducted by Live Orchestra, you're not living.
Be very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
Another discipline here was that it was the basic Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd situation, except that they were playing it as Wagner played, and everybody had to sing their parts.
This just works, man.
Wabbit, kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit.
Kill the wabbit?
Mel Blanc is a fine musician, and that helped enormously. And Arthur Q. Bryan, who did Elmer, had one time been a boy chorister.
Oh, mighty warrior of great fighting stock, might I inquire to ask him what's up, Doc?
It just works, man. And again, like they're picking the good stuff, even if it is over-heralded.
I kind of enjoy Bugs, though, as Brunhilde, when he got dressed up in one place in there and put a helmet on.
Which was my original idea, and my original idea alone.
Wore the
Babu?
helmet like Brunhilde, and had enormous eyebrows. And he looked real kind of sexy and nice.
Hair who?
He just played it right to the core, which is the way
sexy and nice?
Did everything. He was playing Brunhilde, by God, he was Brunhilde.
All the way.
Yes, I know it. I can't help it.
Oh, Brunhilde, be my love.
The brass hit as the horse sits down.
When I did cartoons, I did them mostly with Yosemite Sam, who was
Which should be
more
fair.
of an aggressive.
I like this. There's something like your approach to the Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Better than the John stuff.
Bugs was more on the defense.
This one won me an Oscar. I'm still not sure why.
Like this kind of analysis, I'm fine with. Yeah.
Stupid dragon.
How's the water, Doc?
Open that bridge, Varmint! Open it, I say!
It just works.
Close it up again! Okay, Rabbit, you forced me to use force.
In Friz Freeling's case, when he had Yosemite Sam, who was an explosive character, and he leaps up and says, "I hate Wabbit!"
Quick, the singing sword's been stolen! Wake up, fire-breathing lizard! Stop breathing on me, you idiot!
Yeah.
Yosemite Sam, toughest guy that ever shot a gumdrop.
I know how you got Yosemite Sam now, and that was because you just simply got inside of Friz and studied his
This
soul.
is good.
If Friz spoke the way he thought, that's what he would sound like. That's why he could do Yosemite Sam, He really explosive kind of a personality.
Again, only the one Sam cartoon, apparently.
You idiot!
Oh.
A major contributor to the personalities of the Warner characters, one might say the soul of the characters,
Yes.
was the voice expert Mel Blanc.
Okay,
His
yes.
strong, recognizable
We could
voice
get him.
created a link between the cartoons and the audience and gave a foundation of reality to the outrageous gags on the screen.
Don't sneeze, you stupid dragon, or you'll blow us to the moon!
4, 3, so good.
2, 1.
Dragons is so stupid!
Adios! Have a nice trip!
You could have cut it there.
Bon voyage! Farewell to thee!
Good.
They always showed me the picture first and asked me to create a voice for it. Of course, they told me what the story was going to be, and then I would have to create a voice for it. I said if a pig could talk, he'd talk with a grunt. A pig says oink, 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 oink.
That's why Porky got a voice.
Then they showed me a picture of a big sloppy cat and a little baby bird. And so I went accordingly. I created the voice for little Tweety as a little baby.
Oh, I thought a pretty cat.
And Sylvester was sloppy, so I made him sloppy. Suffering succotash. You
Yeah.
better fall, putty tat. That putty tatted me.
I thought a pretty cat.
Oh, look, we're
The
talking.
little French skunk, they told me he was a great lover.
So I give him the lover's voice. It is the
To be fair, he's still great at these.
C'est l'amour.
Yeah.
C'est toujours. C'est l'amour.
Oh no, not
And
Speedy.
Speedy Gonzales was a little tiny Mexican mouse.
So I made him a little mouse, talk very fast too, talk so fast you could understand what he said.
Different one.
Another cartoon? I didn't think any more were going to be showing up. I know.
Yeah, that's in the budget.
It's not in the script. Oh?
What? Oh, what?
Several characters appeared over the years in Warner shorts who, for a variety
Oh.
of reasons, did not sustain public interest and did not become
you?
big stars. Here, for instance, is Caveman Inky and the Minor Bird.
Oh. I know them. Oh, well, you see, the thing is. The Minor Bird I do remember from the Circuit Pretty Mysteries. These two lasted. What are you talking about?
Mark Anthony.
Yeah, they're great.
Full episode on them.
To the face, to the face. Yay. Oh. Hey, Mark, it's your favorite.
A singing frog with plenty of personality was used in only one short, the allegorical One Froggy Evening.
Here's what's funny about this, right?
The problem with One Froggy Evening was that we had to have a frog that was believable as a frog. It couldn't be just an anthropomorphic character, again, to use the rather gaudy term.
I like that.
That is a character who
Chuck's
acts like a human
thing
being, walks like a
is
human being.
he
Just
likes
be a
to
real
talk
frog,
smart,
believable.
but he's like,
so we had to study frogs.
but he's not
So
abrasive
as
about
a
it.
kid, why,
He's like,
any of you remember if you ever picked up a frog, you know, they hang there and their little arms hang down like this, and they sort of sloppy and stuff like that. So we got the feeling that.
keep in mind at this
frog,
point, another frog was getting prominence.
Most characters do
Yeah.
that. He doesn't have a head is separate from the rest of him. So what I did in this case was to try to figure out a character that was starting with a mouth, because he's a singing.
He's drawing
frog.
the character you gave
And he's
4.5 out of 5
also
stars to.
When he sings, he's a straight frog until he starts to sing, and then for a short time he becomes this mad guy, and he wears a top hat.
And then this would be the
dances along.
mascot of
So
a
a
short-lived TV network.
The body, which is true of most of the frogs.
Oh my
Gosh,
gosh,
all
yeah.
reptiles when you come to think about it.
That is Buffy the Vampire
Pretty much,
Slayer's
yeah.
boss.
So he danced.
Oh, he's so
Sort of
good.
like this.
This I'm
That's,
fine with. He's not
Yakko,
sitting down,
Wackos,
so
and
it's
Dogs
okay.
boss.
It's not laborious.
Vaudeville way.
Yeah, it's all good.
This would be the cane coming through here.
Wait, it's Chuck Jones
then
drawing the
your
character.
fingers
That's
tapping
just
your
that.
hat.
I'm sorry, that's
They're
way more
all
entertaining.
Oh,
than-
and here is how
Basically,
Bugs
this
Bunny
is the way
sits
the-
down.
way the character worked when he was in action. When he wasn't in action,
It's occurring to me what his voice reminds me of. It reminds me of from the MST3K,
big
the
gassy kind of a thing like this.
Final Sacrifice. The kid from that. The guy goes,
You may
Master,
notice that frogs are wall-eyed too.
Well, it's
Wall-eyed,
true.
like slightly
My
away
father
from
went
the
missing.
other, and they have this kind of a look to them.
okay, buddy.
But they
sounds
certainly
like-
don't
it
look
sounds
like
like
they're
Cartoon.
going to do this,
No.
which is what he does. He goes from this action to this action, and that was the whole point about the frog.
Master.
A real frog who suddenly jumps up and sings and dances.
See? It gets you. So good.
You know, I saw a video recently of a barbershop quartet doing this song, but through different decades of music.
Of course.
It's entertaining as hell. He talks, he sings, sing, bro.
Oh, yeah.
One of the greatest series of animated cartoons ever made are the Roadrunner and Coyote series.
He's giving
devised
Chuck
by
a lot of
Jones.
praise.
The coyote looks sort of like...
I'm noticing that.
Yeah, it's
Which,
very
to be fair,
Chuck
we're one to
Jones.
talk. We've covered a
Very
lot of
Chuck
Chuck Jones
Jones.
If you
cartoons,
want to make somebody look
and
starved,
not a lot of
Oh my gosh,
which
yeah.
I'm trying to
It's kind of a
rectify.
withered pear,
But
and he's always looking sort of
you know,
faintly
I get it.
disgruntled.
He's great,
I
but
know
you,
that.
you have the
Put
other
this
three.
way,
Maybe you should
someone
probably
saying
also give the other
if he's
ones
not
compliments as
disgruntled,
well,
he certainly isn't
other than just
disgruntled.
saying how he's so great at
The
everything.
less that a person has to offer in the world, very often the more elegant the postures are. So you find a guy
Did
like
Chuck
the
give
coyote,
the funding?
who's a pretty scrabbly guy, and
Maybe
probably
Chuck
the
did
only animal
fund
in
him,
the
I
world
don't
that
know.
has both kinds of ticks, a facial tick and the kind that carry Rocky Mountain.
My
spotted
favorite
fever.
director, and the one that's given me the most money for
What
this
the hell, I'm putting a
project, is
carrot in
Chuck
his hand.
Jones.
That won't do, will it?
The other two
Well,
can go
let's just
suck
say
it.
that he's saying hello in his own language. In the background, you put a roadrunner who also is based on the same principle: the little head, long neck, slightly pear-shaped body, tail up like so. The
I mean, I will say, I
Actually,
mean,
the real
for children,
Roadrunner,
this is great to like,
erects this,
you know, like, this is a
comb
great
of his only when he's going
tutorial.
to fight or kill a rattlesnake or something, which they
Pretty
do.
simple shapes. He
But I kept it
describes
up
how
all
to
the
draw the
time. And the
characters.
beep, beep.
You can probably draw it at home.
It's the only thing that's ever heard is on these cartoons. So, like so, and then you bring the long legs up. They're sort of like flying fish of the land, the Roadrunner is.
And again, what's
An
so funny
animal
about this is like
goes at
Clampett was the
tremendous
one around this
speed,
time
but
who
really
was
can't
like
fly.
giving
They can only
seminars
sail.
and stuff about the Looney Tunes cartoons. So it's kind of funny how like, what the
This is the
hell?
way this gives you
What
some
kind of
idea.
part's that?
We haven't heard from
Developed.
Bob
The
since
original
the first part, pretty
coyote was
much.
a four-legged animal whose gut was like this, and we tended to call him Don Coyote. Fortunately, we didn't. But we were using the Latin description of him, Carnivorus vulgaris, and the Roadrunner Accelerata Incredibilis.
Oh my
But you see
god,
that
well,
they-
that's
that
what
he
they look
changed
like
the
in
Norse
Kirby
now.
versus
It looks
Acme.
more like the real
They go really
version.
drastic with it.
But he gradually became a little different, and this was awkward to animate. And it didn't look right.
That's who I keep
This guy
thinking about.
gradually stood up on his legs, but you notice that he was emaciated then, And I don't know why the tongue was
Because
sticking
it's
out.
funny.
At any rate,
I don't know why the tongue was sticking out. That was stupid.
Develop over a period of time.
I get the general gist of this, of having animation professionals talking about animation, and I wish it was done better.
Mike Maltese and I always felt that they should be kept in the southwestern American desert, although there seemed like you could do marvelous things in the city or or up in the Arctic or someplace like that, but not so. The characters had to remain in the southwestern American desert, and the more we narrowed it, the better it got. I mean, the more discipline you impose.
And they have to stay in the desert. Didn't your crew do one where it took place in the wintertime?
Yeah, we don't talk about
The
that.
roadrunner stays on the road, ipso facto. We impose that. The roadrunner can leave the road, providing he draws a white line across the desert or puts a sign which says detour or something of that kind. So basically, the 7 or 8 disciplines that were employed, by and by, it almost came down to the idea the only enemy that the coyote had was gravity.
Fair.
I mean, he was always falling off at things.
Boy. Yeah. I love this one, though, to be fair. So good.
The roadrunner never harms the coyote beyond coming up behind him and saying beep beep.
Bing. They're showing roadrunner coyotes we don't always see.
Really, and then maybe
which
hit
is
a
good.
spring and that would bounce him back and the whole thing would continue on.
Although this one we have seen.
Wily 5, baby.
Yeah, but we should do it. We should always do more, because I love covering.
Gags. By some curious coincidence, nobody knew why.
Yeah,
they're fun. Oh yeah, this gag I know. Yeah. This is a good one. Yeah. Oh.
Way in Hopalong Casualty, there was a marvelous thing, and I'm got
Get him.
Ken Harris animated this, and again the roadrunner, the coyote was trying to capture the roadrunner, and he had a bottle of Acme. Earthquake pills.
Yeah.
Fool your friends.
You can tell he loved this gag because he also included it in the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner
so
movie
he
montage.
put a bunch of them out there and then put a sign on saying bird seed. The roadrunner came in and ate it, and the coyote thought, "Boy, I've got him." He's full of them. And but the roadrunner went off, and then he looked at it, and he was disappointed in the thing. So he took
Man,
the
he
top
does a
off,
really good job
and he put one
summarizing
in
cartoons. We
and
should get
swallowed
him on
it
our
off
show.
to see whether he was, and he hit himself.
If only.
And so on. And then he. And then being completely.
Oh, that would be the finale.
The Ghost of Chuck?
Drank them all.
Absolutely. There's no way. There's no way. Yeah, we just borrow the Ouija board, the little Richard had, and...
Wait, why does it keep telling us to have burgers?
Eats Red Robin. Red Robin. Never did.
Oh, no. I love this gag, too. It's a great gag. I love it, because you're just waiting for something to
That's the
happen.
realization. And it's incredible animated, too.
The Michael J. Fox story. No, I'm sorry.
Oh! I'm in luck. If you can joke about it.
Yeah.
Just destroys the rock.
So good. It's so good. And it's so well timed, too. It's just...
Do I miss the characters at Warner
Yes!
Brothers? Yeah, of course. When you spend so much time with them, they become very much the part of your life, and you get involved with them. Also, you've seen them develop. So each one of these characters became endearing, and you got to understand them and like them. And all of a sudden, the rug came out from underneath it. Jack Warner, in some brilliant piece of his own logic, decided to close the cartoon studio, presumably for economic reasons. However, the Bugs Bunny show has been on networks one way or the other. Not one way or the other, one way. That is primetime television, either on Saturday or on primetime in the evenings since 1956. And it just seems to me that these characters are still very much alive, and the people that did them
For
are very
now.
much alive. Fritz Freeling obviously could do Yosemite Sam's and Tweety Bird and Sylvester's and stuff. And I'd love to be able to do the Roadrunner and Coyote, some more short subjects.
That's why they did the specials, I
think.
think.
A good investment. But the wisdom of
maybe this is the gateway to doing some of that.
Seems to indicate differently.
I do believe that the
okay, so this was definitely before
the 40s and the 50s.
The movies then.
Still
everything like this.
As dominant in their humor. I think people still enjoy, adults, children alike, still enjoy these things. Although they're put
maybe
on,
I don't know.
Very seldom see
what do you think?
Theater anymore because the theaters just don't buy them because they have one big picture, and they don't want to take up the time with a cartoon.
And the only times that I've been allowed to do it, to do any Roadrunner and Coyotes, was to do 4 or 5 little segments for the Electric Company 2 or 3 years ago.
Morgan Freeman has worked with Roadrunner and Coyote.
The Roadrunner and Coyote were considered too violent to be used on network television, but they were not considered too violent to be used on a children's television workshop program in the Electric Company. So in a way, it's kind of a justification.
You can tell it's killing Chuck that's only how he's able to do it.
Today, animation flourishes around the world as an industry on television and in theatrical feature films, and as a medium of personal expression by independent artist filmmakers and other communicators. The conditions of financing and distribution that made the Warner shorts possible no longer exist, so we will probably never see their like again. The boys from Termite Terrace expanded the emotional horizons of the new art of animation, and their work
Thank you,
represents
New
a
York
very
State
joyful
Education,
chapter in
for
the history of that
producing
art. The continuing overwhelming popularity of
lights
the
of the
films
world,
and the public's
like,
affection for the
hello,
characters
and welcome
is the
to-
ultimate tribute that can be paid to the special genius of the boys from Termite Terrace.
Oh, yes. Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There's like 2 other ones that end with the end of what's on the dock, but given it's a great ending, so.
I killed the rabbit. Poor widow Bunny.
It's also interesting to watch this and go like, oh, they did a master run.
Well, what did you expect in an
Always
opera?
works.
A happy ending?
Yeah. Okay. It was really only a minute of Bugs Bunny said that? Why did it feel longer? I feel duped.
Because attention spans?
You know what? Probably. This entire running gag is just a minute. I feel duped. I think you all should as well. This is the thanks you get for giving us the money.
Our entire show.
The big running gag we've had has been a sham. It's a sham, I tell you.
A goddamn sham.
This was all right. I liked the part when they actually allowed people to give analysis, although this was very... And look, I say this as if we weren't also Chuck heavy, but this was very Chuck heavy. And I wish they would have given a bit more time to Bob Clampett and Fritz Freeling and maybe some of the other people. But you could tell that John Canemaker was a big Chuck fan and so built the thing around him. And I really hope the other guys liked that.
And that's... Yeah, it's not great because it's called The Boys from Termite Terrace, not Chuck Jones and his fellows.
It's Chuck and Friends.
It's not the Chuck Jones. Yeah, exactly.
Obviously the parts where it's John Canemaker explaining are the worst parts of this because he isn't a great presenter at this stage. Look, I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure his accomplishments speak for themselves. Yeah. I just think that, choosing to bridge a lot of the first part around him rather than around actually bridging a good story, I think is not a great call because, a lot of this lives and dies with him and he's just sort of, we have Bugs Bunny sitting down. It's not exactly captivating or as captivating as some of the stuff that Chuck and Frizz and Bob talk about.
No, it's not. And literally, it's like, it's not captivating. And they got the Chuck talk, drawing the characters, and that's captivating. That's interesting. Chuck. So there is a way you can do this where it's not, dull or anything, but yeah, John's not that entertaining of a presenter. And the editing, it's so strange because, like, there are sections of this where the editing is very well done, where it's not terrible, and then it'll just, like, cut off too soon, or cut off a cartoon too soon, or they'll talk to a director, or the reference to a director, then they show a short from another director. It's like, you're supposed to have a little more cohesion in your
it's very much like it's very much okay. We have this kind of television budget because we only have these many shorts, and we have this degree of editing at this stage, and we have this degree of hosting, and we have this degree of direction that only really emphasizes one of the three of the people that we have. It's not well made. It's not great. There's a bias, and it shouldn't have a bias. It's somewhat informational about some of this, but other documentaries and things would do a better job. I think it's fine. I think that, it works in some respects, but mostly doesn't.
Yeah, it's nice that we have this to look at, because again, finding 70s interviews of these guys, it's not impossible, but like, this is around the time where people were starting to really, pay attention to Looney Tunes directors as directors, as animation professionals. But it's just a shame that this is the best, this is the most prominent one at that time. Because, after this, you got the older Chuck interviews, which are great Chuck interviews, but, he's older. You got the Frizz interviews, and those, the Frizz interviews stayed throughout. They're good. And Clampett's, not much, because they had a falling out with him.
I wonder why. Maybe because he wasn't in much of this. I don't know, man.
Did they? Did John just when over dinner one night? John was like, "Yes, I interviewed Bob. Just Chuck. Okay, tell me what he said." Well, he said this. That's a lie.
You didn't know
That's
any
an
of these
exaggeration. That's you didn't know any of that. Oh, I guess I have to cut him out of this. He's not in the second part at all.
Something happened.
Something happened. All right. So what would you give sample rating?
I guess
if you had to
3.
Yeah. I'll say 3 out of 5. It's a nice thing to watch if you want some good talking heads of these interviewers. But it's too Chuck focused to really get a full perspective on Termite Terrace as a whole.
Yeah.
Which, I think part of that would have to do with they didn't interview a lot of people. Which, again, budget, but I think if you're going to call it the boys from Termite Terrace, you got to interview more than 3 people.
There's barely any boys. So, you got to...
No. They're not even boys. They're middle-aged. Not even. How old were they? I don't know. The thing
in their 50s and 60s?
Older, yes, but not 50s and 60s, I guess, yeah. The fact they were we're going to do a reenactment of Duck Amuck, a short from 22 years ago. It's that's not long.
It's odd to say, but they weren't too far removed from the end of it. It had only been they'd only been out of there for a good 10, 11 years, so. Which is why they were really still longing to do more.
So yeah, that's our thoughts on, that's the end of our commentary here on Camera 3, The Boys from Termite Terrace. Hope you enjoyed it. And, so stay tuned next month for a commentary that we don't know what we're going to do. Next month is all in your hands.
Get some options out, and then we're going to go and do it. Hopefully you guys enjoy these, and we'll give you guys some good stuff to have that our usual patrons, or not patrons, our usual people won't get to enjoy.
All right, so until next time, I'm Mark.
And I'm Jordan, and Hope you enjoyed us attacking a special for only having a minute of a thing that I thought lasted 30. Good night.
How'd he not sit down? How?